wanted to welcome you to this recording of Ask Osho. I had the most beautiful gathering of humans that I know personally that came to support and listen and ask questions, and the things that came through truly floored me, as they always do, because these aren't things that I am bringing forward. They are things that Osho is bringing forward from the ninth dimensional perspective, which we rarely have access to. So, um, some highlights include um, new ways to approach our human experience, even in this density, and that really brought me to tears, that he hadn't shared with me before. And also the beauty in simplistic answers, and also simple questions having such robust, extensive answers. There's such a beautiful contrast that shows up. So, and also understanding that something beautiful that came through too was when you know in your heart that something is true, don't allow someone else to diminish your experience, and hold on to that as your truth, because you are the expert on you. You know, I used to work in healthcare, which is about the most like systemy thing that exists. And and within the wonderful department I worked in had a really great culture until it got too big. In that department, it was always we always believed the patient was an expert on themselves. And so you can put whatever you want into a computer or an algorithm, it'll spit out a diagnosis, but it doesn't capture the spirit. And your spirit is unique to you, and no one else has that. And no one else has access to that. I've always said when I was counseling people, they'd be like, I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was 13 years old. Well, how did that happen? Well, I talked to a psychiatrist for 10 minutes, and I'm like, are you kidding? A psychiatrist for 10 minutes doesn't know all the variables that came into this event that brought you to this like extreme polar opposite mixture of expression. How can anyone give you a label of you after 10 minutes? Are you kidding me? It's just baffling what people choose to accept. So please, 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 I'm not diminishing mental illness. I'm saying you can't be diagnosed with a life-changing identity after 10 minutes. It's impossible. No one can know anything about you that contributes to that except for what's on a paper someone gave to them. So please don't accept things that have not really resonated with you, because inside, when you hear something about yourself, you feel like, or, and always go with the one that's expansive. Really, really always go with the one that makes you feel bigger. Okay, I hope you enjoy this recording. So before we get started, I would like to spend a moment getting into our heart space together so we can all be tuned to the same frequency. Um, and so I'm going to offer some light language to tune us. I'm hearing tune, tune, tune. Take a deep breath and come into your heart space. Everyone here knows how to do this. It's just a matter of us unifying. So picture yourself as, yeah, Osho showing me a snowflake. So we're in the middle of the snowflake, and that precious center, and everything that's created outside of us is from that source spot. That source spot is source itself, which is divine frequency of love. And everything that's coming out in the snowflake pattern is because of everything that Osho has to bring through today, has to do with fractals. So that is why esa paremato con purreva kajita. We're being asked to like bring in the fractals of ourselves in each side of the snowflake. We're pulling it back into the source at this time during this space in this container for this next hour together in order to come into unity. Osho's also offering For anyone who is wanting to connect to this frequency, it is through plasma mycelium that he is plugged into. So your intention, whether you're able to connect to his specific energy or not individually, if you wish to, connecting itself, it's like he's giving me that horrible sound of AOL coming online in the early 2000s that um that we all have the opportunity to come online to that plasma mycelium of that universal consciousness, and that if you are at the frequency of love, you are also connected to him. And so we are all, if you agree to stay in the intention that you are in your heart space and unconditional love source space of the divine, then just accept that and wash over you this absolute plasma love bomb. Because I see like a glitter bomb of love just into your auric field. And yeah, we're clicked in. We're clicked in, you guys. Oh, Esteban is here. I opened my eyes to see Esteban is coming. I'm so excited.
That
I
is
squeaked.
exciting.
I squeaked. It's Esteban. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, I'm so excited to
Love
see
you,
everyone.
Esteban.
And my nose is getting rosy, which means I am connected. Because I always, my nose gets red when I'm channeling. So I'm in. Um, I want to ask if anyone has any questions before I get started beyond what I'm going to channel from Osho, or any commentary or anything that's coming through for you guys, or anyone who'd like to share, like if anyone has a blessing or a transmission they'd like to come through as an intention setting, please feel free to come forward. We are here together to create.
I'm going to speak from everyone. We just love you so much, Audrey, for doing this and putting your energy and Osho's energy into this container, which is so, so grateful for you. Thank you.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, I second that. I
And that's
second that
okay.
love.
I've been crying for days, so thank you. Thank you.
Oh, love you so much,
I
Audrey.
accept and receive your love. And all of you, I love so dearly. And everyone here has shared community together. And I love and miss you. And Savannah and Greta are in my local community. I sent them a video of a woodpecker in the park today because they are bird watchers, and they are also like accidental moms right now. So they are always busy being badasses, and I love you both. Okay, we've got some cool questions, you guys. We've got some really cool questions. Um, So I'm going to try to get through as many as humanly possible, which is going to be, I mean, Natalia, I love you guys. Natalia, you saw last time. Um, that was hard to get through them all. And I've actually decided what the ones I don't get through in this gathering, I'm going to make a podcast out of the rest ones so that all of them can be answered, including the backlog from last month, because Osho would really like very much to be seen right now. He has a message for the collective. And so I'm just going to bring him out and dust him off and take him dancing is what I'm going to do. So does anyone else have anything to share before I get started? I've got, there's love, and oh, Vitor is here. It's, hi, Vitor. Vitor just got back from Sedona, and I am going to be there in a little while. Hi, Vitor. Oh my gosh, and there's the
Hello,
Ascended
everybody.
Masters lined up in a pretty little row. Who do we have? We have definitely Metatron. We definitely have Saint Germain. Do we have
Sure.
Michael?
Yes,
Okay, who else did I miss? Yeshua?
Metatron. Yes, and
Ha!
Germain and Michael. Angel Michael.
I got it. I feel so proud. You made it just in time, Vitor. we dropped into the heart, and we're about to tap into these questions. So I am going to start with Ruby's question. What can Osho tell us about the crystalline DNA template? What can we learn about the 12-strand DNA that the Pleiadians gave us? That is such a fat question. And that's not even the fattest question. Because Irene wins that one. Okay, I'm so excited. This feels I'm already getting like the bringers of the dawn is like really present in this question, because that's the Pleiadian message, which it just fully resonates with me. So okay. All right. It's coming back to the Keter. I've been getting the image of the tree of life, just in general all the time, but especially in the past 24 hours, the tree of life is coming to me in terms, it's a fractal of its own, and this is going to be coming up as a theme throughout all the channelings today. But in terms of okay, that's right, I forgot. Okay, the sacred geometry, there's this show on Gaia, Sacred Geometry. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. It's super like dense and heady, so people who love the heady stuff like myself would really enjoy it. There's a part in which, I forget his name, I'm not very good with names, but he worked for like the government for a really long time, and he's, a genius. But he's talking about how the tree of life, it is, if you were to look at it from above and replicate it, it becomes the DNA strand as it's twisted. And so it's all coding, which we all know. But because we fell from a higher dimensional frequency down to a lower dimensional frequency, our accessibility to DNA in our origin form as divine beings was diminished. It's like taking something grand and trying to squish it into a tiny little box. He's showing me like Robin Williams in Aladdin, like this big energy in it space. And so there were parts that had to be okay. So this is weird. I don't even know. Okay. So if you guys are familiar with the tree of life, the points on it are the Sephiroth. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he's telling me that they're portals. And so that every time we go through one of these spaces, which is connected to an archetype, we go through an initiation journey. And so we are journeying in the hero's journey back to the top, to the Keter, which is the Christed consciousness of unconditional source love. And so as we are climbing up, this is so faceted. As we are climbing up this ladder back to our Keter, we can do that individually and we can do that collectively. So everything is a fractal of another thing. And so as we reach a vibration that is in alignment with a Christos consciousness, we have already gone through and activated these portals within our Sephiroth, which is the tree of life, which is also our DNA. So as we continue to unlock these portals in the Sephiroth in our own individual ascension process, we're able to reach our source frequency again, which is in essence that crystalline consciousness and the crystalline DNA upgrade. So as the Pleiadians, he's saying, are referring to the collective DNA upgrade. They're really, I have no point of reference for this, by the way, 0 point of reference. He's showing me like they have the umbrella over the collective, and the Arcturians have the umbrella over the individual. Really? So it's like different departments in a corporation. If he's like, this will make sense to you. Like there's the CEO in a corporation, but then there's like the president of this division. And so the Pleiadians are over the collective, like the macro. Okay, that makes sense. They're over the macrocosm of the earth because they are connected to all the indigenous. The individuals are through the Arcturians because we've been popping, like I was talking to Vitor yesterday, popping like popcorn. We as light workers are popping like popcorn all over the planet individually, and the Arcturians are working very much on a one-on-one basis with us to assist in that crystalline upgrade. And so there's actually a tipping point when the scales tip to a certain point. That's when the crystalline consciousness of the collective comes online through the DNA, but that's also done through this plasma that we're bringing in through the sun, which really, the Pleiadians are working with the central sun, and they're showing me, it's so weird. They're like directing it, like in photo shoots. Sometimes there's someone who has this reflective light, like it's like a circular thing that someone holds up and tries to get the light just right. The Pleiadians, they're showing me that they're holding up that reflective circular thing that looks like tinfoil, but it's not. They're trying to like direct it in certain areas to get to amplify the light in certain areas. So in answer to your question, the crystalline light body, the Pleiadians are in charge of the collective upgrade. The Arcturians are in charge of the individual. Each point of our DNA, which is the tree of life, is a portal that we go through individually to ascend, and collectively we get tipped both through the weight of how many have ascended, and also through the light that the Pleiadians are trying to specifically shine on areas to bring in the crystalline consciousness through the plasmic light. But there's a separation there of the light workers are individual, and the collective is through the Pleiadians. So the light workers are often, there's a great connection with the Pleiadians to everyone because they're so deeply entwined with Earth. They're just like part of our fabric. But the Arcturians are the like really excited sixth graders for the science project that just want to make a volcano and show you how it works, is what he said. I'm complete with that. Awesome. What do you think, y'all? Did that answer the question? I hope that answered the question. So cool. That's amazing. Thanks, Irene. Esteban, it is a group of amazing beings. That's cool. Have any of you seen that show? The Sacred Geometry show on Gaia that he referred to? What's his name? That guy, he did work for the government, but he shares about all the different sacred geometry and how we can activate our own light body grid inside of us. It's basically like locking us into the grid through our own tree of life. So I had this out because I was seeing it earlier. So each of these are portals that we go through, and they're mirrors of the stargates on the planet. And I don't know how that works, but he showed me that these, like, we shut down to a 2-strand DNA was shutting down our own stargates. So like the planet is opening up stargates now. We are climbing from the Malkut up to get to the Keter, back to our Christed consciousness. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, what a comment about the Arcturians versus Pleiadians. I had no idea that was going to come through. No idea. But it makes a lot of sense because the Arcturians had everything to do with my crystalline upgrade completely. They were just like blasting me all night, every night for so many months in 2022. It was just a lot. I didn't sleep. That whole year I didn't sleep. They're awesome surgeons. You're right. I actually felt their fingers on my body the other night. I was in so much pain. I've been going through this physical thing, and I was in so much, like 8 out of 10 pain for like a week. I could barely move. And I was like, okay, I'm verbalizing the desire for assistance. Please help me. I was laying down and I knew that they could put me in a pod, and that's what I thought they were going to do. But I actually felt their fingers all over my body. They were just like little pats, like boop, 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 boop. Like they were doing, like I was a computer and I was a tablet and they were moving it was weird. And I thought it was just me. And I'm like, am I just having weird sensation? Frequency acupuncture. Yes, that must be what it was. It's just like, what were they doing? I moved my body and everything. I'm like, am I insane? Because if I had a nickel for every time I asked that, I'd be a rich, rich woman. So many nickels. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I get to ask Natalia's questions now. She has part 1 and part 2. I'm excited. Part 1. If Osho had a human experience for a day, what would he be doing and how would his day look? He already started answering this for me when I read it, and we argued. We actually had an argument because if you've ever had an argument with an autistic person, that's what it's like. It just loops around in circles. It's like, what about this? No, because of this. What about this? No, because of this. It was just like that. So I'll tell you what he says. Okay. He's actually really disinterested in having a human experience, but if he is forced to answer the question, he feels both intrigued and intimidated by the experience of human emotion. While he experiences the observation of emotions, which feel a little, he doesn't experience fear, so he won't let me use that word. He's saying it's mostly a, on there's just not a good word for it, he says, but it's from his bird's eye view, because he's a ninth dimensional being. So he holds a frequency that is so high, he sees a bird's eye view of everything. So when he looks at that and he sees like what we're going through, what we're experiencing, he feels that it's chaotic, which is uncomfortable for him, even though like those of us who are experiencing a great deal of light, he doesn't feel that level of chaos with us, but he still sees the chaos surrounding us and it makes him uncomfortable. It's kind of like he's showing me my daughter when she was 5 and we'd be in line at Walmart. She would start ordering the candy in the checkout line because she didn't like how messy it was. Ironically, she never did that stuff with her room or anything in the house, just in public. They made jokes about hiring her when she was 5. He's like, I just want to order it all. And there's just too much to order. There's too much to put together. But he's adding a caveat. He's like, but after the ascension, that sounds nice. I could do that. He's like, it would still be a dip for him. It would still be a dip in frequency. And he's like talking about calibration. He's like, well, I would have to calibrate. He's going through this whole logic thing. We've had this ongoing narrative about like, I'd really like to give him a hug, but he doesn't like touch and he's not always embodied. And so, it would create a lot of physical strain for him to be embodied. And then also on top of that, to be touched would be very overwhelming. So see, he's very logical and autistic the way he communicates, but he's saying all of that aside, he would like the experience of a hug because he sees how happy it makes me when I'm hugged. Oh, that's true. It does make me happy. He thinks that that might be the best thing to have a heartbeat next to a heartbeat. So that's his wish. Wow. That made me cry. That is so beautiful. I think he's really nudging us to do that and to be mindful of that experience of a heart-to-heart hug, to have two frequencies amplify in that way. Irene, right? I'm just like, God dang. And Esteban, I love you. Ugh. Okay, the second part of the question. Unless anyone has something to add to that, would anyone like to add anything? As my face is just leaking all over the place. I love how you're calling us Yoshu for you, Osho and you. You're so wonderful, Natalia. The second part of the question, Arcturian healing pods, how do we make them more accessible to humanity? Oh my God, yes. I don't know what your experience is, Natalia, because I know you're the other Arcturian here that I know of. I did it, it was like 2010 when I first had an experience in a healing pod. And I thought it was just my imagination and I was meditating. And then I learned after like my awakening, holy crap, that's real. But and it was when I was in grad school, I was a disaster. And my daughter, she was like 2, she didn't sleep ever. And I was exhausted. And so I'd have them like, I'd be like, can I go into a little pod where I just like have 3 times the amount of sleep in a third of the time and it'll be great. But so, Natalia, have you experienced those healing pods yourself as well?
Yes. I felt it's more of a frequency calibration in a way, because for us, like in human experience, we like to visualize more and to feel like it's something around us. For me, it was more indirect, like frequency patterning, kind of like sacred geometry around. And the more you are tuned to it, the more you feel like more grounded, and you send that energy into different body parts that need that healing. And that was my experience.
That's absolutely beautiful. The geometry of it. The experience I had was I visualized getting into it like a tanning bed that was like an egg. And there was a red light that came on. And my body would kind of go like this energetically in my head, and it would calm down. It was like being tuned. It was like chaos being ordered. And then when I would come into like, I would take a big deep breath and calm down, and then I'd be passed out. Like I would be sleeping at that point. And so they would take me from chaos to order with light frequencies, which are geometry, which it's like it is all frequency. That's freaking cool. Okay, I'm going to answer this question. Arcturian healing pods, how do we make them more accessible to humanity? It is through, because yeah, okay, so it's through the law of vibration, and it's through okay. Greta, Savannah, you were here. We went to Odessa together at the gorge in July. So it's basically not calling them Arcturian healing pods. Like for humanity to be able to receive what this is it has to be done through a bridge that is already familiar to humans. It's kind of like he's showing me a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It's through frequency, which people love music so much. The music currently in our realm is going through an upgrade. The music is going through an upgrade. In large part, he's showing me like this span of time of around 20 years that has slowly drizzled out accessibility of individualized artists that are not being molded by larger entities of positions of distorted power that are he's reminding me they're just separated from source a little farther than everybody else, so it's not a judgment. They are still in the material realm that is they don't have access to the heart is basically what he's saying. So for people who have attached music, and it's very very uncommon if you look at the entire span of the history of humankind, gatekeeping music is not something that has been done very long. it's been something that's always been available, like through town troubadours and just like passing down of storytelling through song and indigenous practices and sounds and drums, and that we've always had music as a way to tune our frequency. And the Arcturians are showing me Odessa itself is like an EDM, but it's through the intentional creation of music that is tuning. I have chills everywhere. And he's showing me, our friend Mike, he had an awakening experience at this concert. Like it activated him big time. And so it's like that's going to happen for people who are able to receive it through that spoonful of sugar, which is the frequency of music that they are open to receiving. That is, in essence, the healing pod frequency that they're able to receive in a different physical experience, until disclosure is done over the next he's saying it's going to take, aside from disclosure that exists for individuals that already know and understand and have connection to the frequencies of higher dimensional beings, the actual physical disclosure of said beings are not going to be able to be embodied on this planet until we're at a much higher frequency than we are. There are other, mostly starseeds that are taking that baton right now, but we are going to have we already have interactions with alien beings, like hybrids, like me and Natalia for sure. And everyone else here who feels that within themselves, we are already that. It's just that perhaps the memory is not fully there because of the dimensional frequency we're at. But it's going to take about 25 years before we are able to be face to face with someone that doesn't look like us. And as a society as a whole, to be comfortable with that. It takes a generation, he's saying. But until then, there's going to be the technology available to those who are downloading that technology from those higher dimensional beings, much like Tesla was able to download certain technology because of the frequency that he held and connected to. And we have access to and actually the government has held a lot of that, but not to go to the nefarious side. He's always like stopping me. Don't go to the conspiracy. It's just not been accessible yet. It will be, those will be accessible before 25 years. The pods themselves, they already exist physically on this plane. But for the collective, to your question, he says that there are artists who are connected to that plasmic mycelium of source that are getting and downloading the music they're creating that is going to tune people into the Arcturian frequency of higher dimensions before full disclosure and accessibility to physical pods. That is the answer. Savannah and Greta have been drawn to music more recently, literally pulled out your piano today. Cool. And you were talking about healing music. Of course you were, because that's just how we work when we're talking about stuff. Did that answer your question? That was cool. I mean, of course, music, but that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
That,
thank you, Audrey. I
yes,
felt goosebumps
you
also
did.
because the music and the frequencies sometimes we can attune to, but nobody can hear it. And it's like a tinnitus inside the ear, and it's hard to describe it. It's like a high ringing, but it's not. It is kind of like a music in a way. So if
Very.
we are able to produce it for others to hear, that's how they will attune to that frequency.
I just got chills
Thank you.
everywhere. And it's so much what we are drawn to as well, because I think that there are people in every genre of music that hold the frequencies that they're connected to a source frequency. And so like I'm really connected to EDM music. I love it so much. But then I also feel when I hear a didgeridoo, it tunes me immediately. Or when I'm listening to like Saint Finnegan, if it tunes me to what that particular frequency they're sharing is. So if we get the wisdom, like what I'm doing with my herbology initiation right now, if we gain the wisdom of what frequency we are needing, and then we can seek that frequency to tune us when we need it, that's also how our physical bodies are going to heal just in general, because everything is frequency. And there's this really obscure video I was able to see some time ago on a documentary about a group of monks in Korea that were chanting around a woman with a tumor during her scan, and they could see it shrink with that chanting of these monks intentionally stating the health of her body. I think it was her kidney. Yes, you've heard of that. I mean, it was just so powerful, and it's just all the intention. It's the law of vibration. It's the law of mind. So cool what we can do once we believe and know that we are as powerful as we are. Because we are so much more powerful than we were led to believe. Mentalism, 1,000. Yeah, okay. I hear you, Greta, saying mentalism's the best law. No, it's vibration. We're working together in this one because she's one of the architects of reality, Greta, and so we've had this little rivalry because law of vibration's my favorite. Mentalism is hers. That's fine. It takes all of us together, doesn't it? Okay, next up. Genevieve, what are the best ways to help us when we feel resistance inside of us? I feel like this is going to replay some of the things we've just said, but I'm going to tap into this specific question because Genevieve deserves an answer to this question, and she's so sweet. Oh my gosh, she came to my witch event, and she is the most precious person. Oh my God. Okay. It's dual, not just dual, it's multifaceted. It is recognizing what has created a distortion within and then taking it into an ordered space from disorder. And that's always going to be toward a higher vibrational frequency, toward the light of source. This can be done in many ways. The human experience is so physical that the first thing to do is always to tend to your physical vessel. So if you're feeling disruption, you must tend to your physical vessel before you tend to your spiritual vessel, is what he's saying. Because that is the most dense part of you. So if your physical vessel isn't well, no part of you is well. So that it always comes back primarily to having enough, he's telling me 5 things at once. Sometimes it's a matter of purging the impurities out of your vessel before adding pure things to it. So depending on what it is, fasting for a short period of time and eliminating what no longer is of service to the body, through purging of, like, he's showing me, colon stuff, like getting that out of your body through like the use of herbs and things just to clear out your vessel. It's like clearing your canvas before you paint things on it. So it's not good to stuff yourself with things on top of things that haven't been passed through. He's saying that's really important, that poop is a big deal. I did not expect that to go this way. It's like, because if energy is clogged, it's like a cork. So you have to have movement. And if you don't have movement, then everything is stuck. So your physical vessel has to be attended to. The old energy has to leave, and the new energy that you put into it must be done mindfully in order to heal your body through the medicine of the energetic nourishment that's been made available for you on this planet. All of the nourishment that is available to you that you need should be at a vibratory frequency of where you live if you are healing. Do not eat bananas if they don't grow where you live. He's saying it's really important to live, because otherwise your body clashes with your environment. It takes more work to digest if it is not at the vibrational frequency of where you live. That's why it's so important to, if you are able to and have access to eat foods that are locally farmed, and not treated. It's the very, very best. But if you don't have access to that, make sure that the things that you do consume could be grown where you live. So like I live at a place that is famous for potatoes. I love to eat potatoes, and I will eat potatoes every day of my life until I die, potentially. And that's good because I need to be grounded and rooted. And I live in a place that grows potatoes and I crave those. So he's saying it is absolutely less about like, this is good for you and this is bad for you. It's what your body is wanting. It is what is growing in the area at the vibrational frequency that you live at. I'm being reminded like Idaho's lines, degrees on the planet, they actually are in alignment with France, where they grow a lot of wine. So we have a lot of wine in Idaho. And so that's something that is to keep in mind wherever you are at. He's showing me like the degrees, the latitude and longitude, mostly the latitude. The latitude. So if wherever you live around the globe that's at that same degree, is it latitude or longitude that goes horizontally? I'm so sorry. I just the horizontal line. I'm at 44 degrees in Idaho. I was born at 44 degrees. And 44 degrees, you can look up on Wikipedia everywhere that is, and you can actually see the kind of food that your body should be able to attune to culturally, even. That's so interesting. And so as you attend to your physical vessel and also rest, and also like all of these things, that is when you can nourish the rest of yourself through frequency healing. So one is a material frequency healing, and the other is a frequency healing that is unseen. So the two together can heal you very quickly if you put thought into it. That I'm complete with that. That's crazy. No cacao. Oh no, I'm gonna still drink cacao, but my body's healthy, so I'm gonna do it. And water. Water travels, absorbs free. Yes, that's true. That's why like the hydrogen water, like when I always forget to use the hydrogen water because it's not in my favorite container with the stickers. But then I'll do a hydrogen water and put it in there. But I always forget, like when I need a little extra something, like when my body was in pain this week, I was told you need to work with the water frequencies because it's everything. And then the whales talk to me and they're like, you have to tune your body, Audrey. The galactic whales, that's a whole thing. As you well know, Natalia. Okay, Irene's question. Okay, we're at 43. I think I can get through these. I really do. Irene's question is so badass. So get some popcorn because it's a paragraph. Crystal got the question for last time that deserved the award, the popcorn award. This one, okay. I've heard some say that connecting with ascended masters and elemental energy is a product of a projected collective illusion due to as humans feeling the need to belong to something. Is this statement of the highest truth? Or is it possible to connect with the high frequency light of ascended masters and elemental energies? Or maybe both perspectives distorted? I'm a bit confused on the subject. That is such a good question, isn't it? Like, because I've heard argument of this so many times, and I immediately thought of like Greek mythology and all of the mythological stories that were told that humanize gods instead of we look at it through our lens of distortion, right? So yeah, and this is the biggest fractal answer. I just saw just fractals everywhere as soon as this came in. So oh, he just gave me everything else. Okay. It's not confusing at all, Irene. Like it made all the sense in the world to me because I feel like I've asked that question myself. And this comes back to like for those of you that were at the Rose gatherings when I channeled Inanna. Oh my God, just got chills everywhere. When I channeled Inanna, she's in the underworld and she was the first access point for me in my awakening journey as a goddess, because that's where I needed to start my story and to climb up through that story. So she was at the vibrational frequency that I was at, and I needed her to guide me to the next vibrational frequency, which is just my answer. That is not Osho. Osho is going to bring in something else entirely, I'm sure. Okay. He's saying that there's and my left eye is leaking. I don't know why. He's saying that there is a distortion that we have chosen to receive, that one vibration is better than another vibration. So like everybody wants to be at the top of the hill, but they're forgetting about the journey up the hill. And so there are certain teachers that will say what you've shared here, Irene, and those teachers are living in an egoic space that is still in a state of separation, where to acknowledge any aspect of shadow or a different frequency of something is deemed as being negative, as a negative thing. He's saying, but don't you need both positive and negative components to create tension, to bring about growth of some kind? He's showing me the darkness and the light, the sun and the moon. Those two frequencies, the masculine and the feminine, are needed to create life and growth. And he's showing me the growth of a fractal, like in plants coming up. If you just have one or the other, it cannot be created. So he's like, he's like, I'm so tired of explaining that shadow isn't evil. It takes both. And so every frequency makes the symphony. You do need bass in your symphony. And so to judge the bass as being bad because it holds a frequency that feels denser and slower and deeper is going to give you a less, he's saying intentionally the word dimensional symphony. It's less immersive. You want, because he's showing me, like, there's this concert hall called the Morrison Center in Boise where they have this big pit of just the full orchestra is just so amazing. And when you're there and you're right next to that pit, it is so immersive. My whole body lights up and I'll start crying because it's so beautiful. It's immersive, and it's immersive because it holds all the frequencies. And he's saying that to separate yourself from even being willing to receive any of those frequencies, at least from a position of just witnessing. You don't have to like swim around in it, but just to witness it. Oh, this is another frequency that exists. You're cutting yourself off from source, because source has all of these facets and every single color in beyond the rainbows we know of, in all of you, all the universes, that creates all the elements, it creates all of everything. And so to separate oneself from it and say, no, I don't play with that. Like, you don't have to play with demons, but you can acknowledge that they are also creations. They come from source. They're just farther away from light. And so what is beautiful, he's saying, about what humans do, and not all beings do this. He's saying it's really important to give yourself credit where credit is due. Like, yeah, humans have a tough experience, but they have also, he's saying, learn this from the Pleiadians. Okay, what up, Pleiadians? It's like the storytelling, the storytelling, the storytelling. We tell stories. Beautiful. Okay. They're coded to be accessible like treasure chests for people who are ready to receive the new facet of the story. So when stories are told through the lens of an ascended master or elementals, as you referred to, those are facets that are relatable to people that anchor into their human experience, even before they're able to discern their deeper meaning. He's showing me, wow. So when my daughter was little, I went to Mormon church for 2 years with her when she was little because I live in Mormontown, and also there were tons of kids that lived nearby and she could play with them, and they invited us to activities, and I was a single mom. I have no regrets. It was an amazing experience. It's not for me. But during that time, it's so much fun to dress up little girls in dresses for Easter. I'll tell you what, it's so much fun. But there was this little thing I got at like it looked like a carton of eggs, and you opened it up and each egg was a plastic empty egg, and then it had a piece of the story of the resurrection of Christ. And I have chills everywhere. But there's like a nail in one, and then there's like a little piece of felt in another one to represent his shawl or something. And it tells the story, and it's a material story, but each part of that, each like station of a cross, each bit of that story is a story of our own resurrection. And so as those masters may have stories that are colorful in the human experience, they are anchored into our stories to make them relatable so that we can take them with us on the journey to the top of that mountain. And they are our guides. And our focused intention makes it true. And so whether or not to get hung up on whether they exist or they don't exist is not helpful. He's saying that's not helpful. To focus on how you relate to it tells you what vibrational frequency you're at, and to be grateful for that frequency, that you are met with a guide. And as you go on that journey, you'll gather other guides, and those guides are taking you as like tour guides up your mountain to make it to the top. And don't just focus on the top, because then you're just going to be at the top and there's another mountain after that. This never ends. You're never done. And so release that, he's saying, and to be grateful for what is revealing itself to you in what form. For some people, the vibrational frequency they are at to connect to is Lucifer, and to not shrink from that, because that lets you know what frequency they're at. They're at a base level. You may be at a higher oboe frequency, he's saying, and that's okay. Both are needed in the symphony of existence. You don't have to play with that frequency, but don't diminish its value to the person who is being guided from that hand. I'm complete. Wow.
Thank you
Interesting
so
that
much.
those were the examples given, like that light and dark. What did you think, Irene? I really want to know, because that was your question.
That was amazing. Like it took off so much weight off of me because
Good.
it felt like it was weighing on me, like I was being crushed because I can feel the energies. They're real to me. Like I can feel them coming through even in the astral. And for someone to tell me that that's not real or that I shouldn't focus on them or I need to push them away, it was like just so hard.
That's crushing, my
Because I'm
dear. I'm
like,
so
I was
sorry.
like, no, like I can feel them.
Yeah,
And
you
then they would
can.
come through even more because I would fight through it. And then the energies would just come through more and in the more in the astral, like when I'm asleep. So like I know it's real. Like I couldn't have made it up if I tried. So
No.
this is just like a huge weight, like if I had a boulder on my chest and someone just removed it. And I feel like Osho knew that
Yeah. I have chills,
because,
just I'm lit up.
well, the way Osho explained it is the way it was like hurting me. So it's like he knew exactly like what to pinpoint, like he was talking to me. So he definitely did feel me when I was connecting earlier because that question had been bothering me and I forgot about it because I tried to push it away. And then when I connected with Osho, it just came right back. So I was like, okay, ask me this.
It's perfect. It was a perfect question. And my left eye won't stop leaking. I don't know what that's about. That happens sometimes. It's my feminine side. I don't know why it's leaking, but when I channel, sometimes an eye leaks. But Irene, thank you for asking that question and all of the thought you put into being able to verbalize it. I had no problem understanding it. And the fact that it was weighing on you so heavily, I have to tell you, I've always had a propensity to connect to shadow because I'm a transmuter. And so I've gotten a lot of judgment around those energies and people being uncomfortable with me because I'm not uncomfortable with darkness. And there's a lot of judgment around what we should be seeking. Like we should be at a certain frequency, and anything beneath that, which it's not beneath, it's just a different frequency, is like you're bad or wrong. And that's why I always say that I have like black magic on like a quarter of one of my shelves, because I don't believe it's appropriate to not have access to all that's happening. I don't want to like swim in the pool of black magic, but I know that it has to exist. For everything to create, there has to be tension. And so I need to know what is happening in the world and everything in between, the bridge in between, and to know how to protect and love your way through it too, and to not diminish the value of that path because it's yours. You're the God of your universe. Your path is yours. And literally anyone who would tell you at all, and no judgment to the person who said this because it was their truth at the time, but if anyone thinks that they can speak to your experience of being a human being and your reality, is sorely mistaken, because you are the only one who can speak to that. You are the master of your world, and there is no wrong there, no matter how long it takes to get from point A to B and how rough of a road that is. That's a road that you are experiencing for a reason. And if someone says you need to lessen that load, like it's not enough, they're making your journey longer to work past that hump, that boulder that was on your chest. You're doing it perfectly. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're powerful. You're all those things. And no one gets to diminish that with their perspective. That just means they have more growth to include all the different frequencies. Oh, I missed a concept here. Okay. Pulled a card of an eye, a portal receiving through the left eye. You're right. Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. I did pull that card. I did. That is so right on. Eye of Horus. Oh, okay. So Horus was my first guide that came to me. He gave me gifts. I was quoting him last night because a woman was on a keto diet and she's like, I really want a chip. And I was like, girl, have a chip. Like eat a chip. You're a goddess, just eat a chip. And Horus, when he first came to me when I awakened, he's like, never postpone pleasure. And he gave me like a platter, and there was a big bowl of honey, and he dipped a walnut in it and handed it to me. And like for a month after that, I just ate walnuts and honey, and he said, never postpone pleasure. It's just so beautiful. Okay, I've got two more, but where are we at on time? We're out of time. We have 2 minutes. Can people stay a little bit longer? Is that okay? All right. All right. They're just two. They're just two. Emily asked, is the war on Israel in Israel part of a bigger plan to clear out religious ideas? And I'm very interested in the answer to this question. I've gotten some pings on it over the last bit, but I'm really interested. Also a little nervous. I'm going to take a drink of my Blue Lotus tea. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys can stay a little bit longer. Did I lose Greta and Savannah? Nope. Okay, cool. Yay. You're here. Can I just say, you guys, I miss you so much. I need to like squish you really soon. Let's watch a movie tonight soon. Okay. All right. We're in Israel. So this has a lot to do with what I channeled earlier on my live stream that I did on Instagram, was about like the image of a person with a hammer that smashed a mirror in this like of themselves. They're looking in a mirror and they smash it in the middle, and in the middle it's like powdery, so destroyed, and it's a big mess. And then there's these fractals that come out. So Israel is where there's a portal there. I mean, a Stargate. There's a Stargate. There's a lot of activity on that land. The land is really, 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 like he's saying it, very big, very bold, enormous, really sacred. And because that is where a lot of the seeding initially took place of the hybridization program that was seeded here from our galactic races, there is a deep remembrance in the land. He's showing me an Ouroboros. That's right. Okay. I've gotten that before. It's like the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. It is. So what was anchored must be dismantled in order to begin again. And so it's like the ending of a cycle. He's showing me like the Yuga calendar of the Hindu like time eras. My ears are so hot right now. The yugas, it's the Kali Yuga, that just it's where everything is completely wiped. And so it is, the important piece is the land. It is, he's like saying it, the land. Remember that it's Gaia's body. And this is her holy origin. And the fighting is the death of the masculine and the control of the feminine. Really? Okay, so like Abrahamic religions, and that includes Judaism, Islam, Christianity, all of these, they originated in, so he's like, none of the original intention behind these Abrahamic religions still exist on this plane of existence. So it is the distortions, and that's that powder. So if an Abrahamic religion were this mirror and Abraham is looking at it and smashing it, this is the mess of the distortion. And it's not that the Abrahamic religions themselves are at all bad. There's no good or bad. It's just that every being has to lose themselves to find themselves. And beings can be entities created out of groupings. So he's been showing me molecules all day, just FYI. And so like, if all of us are individual like cells in a body or whatever, look at it like that. So if Abrahamic religions were a molecule, or a person or whatever that is like has to find itself. Think of like a trust fund kid or something that has had everything handed to them. They've had no character growth. They haven't learned anything. They're just like kind of an asshole. What if their dad cuts off their credit card and now they have to what? They have to fall from grace. They have to like work as a bartender, get rent. They're no longer a spoiled brat. They have to like look at people. Like you have to get lost to get found. And so he's saying that the Abrahamic religion had to get lost to get found. And this is the expression of how lost it has become, because anything from source is ordered and peaceful and in unity. And for this disorder and for the dehumanization of one being to another based on arbitrary separation tactics is the epitome of not understanding our divine unity. And so it is going from, it's the toral field from source love going out into chaos, will cycle back into order, and it's the Ouroboros. Oh, I didn't know the Ouroboros was just to show us one trail of one side of that toral field. That's really cool. Thank you for that. I had no idea. That's my whole logo. It's cool. Yeah, he's showing me that this disorder is letting us know that the Abrahamic religions from source went out into the furthest part of chaos right before they turned back to come to source. So we're witnessing it, and it is a dismantling to come back into order. I'm complete. Palestine, not Israel. So I mean, I understand the difference, but the question was about Israel. And they're the same land that's being claimed. I don't get political because it's the land itself is Gaia's body. It doesn't belong to anybody. Just to be clear, it's Gaia's, not humans. Oh my God, the left side of my brain is tingling. We need to acknowledge that none of this belongs to us. We are stewards. We are stewards. That balance of the feminine and masculine seems like an infinite struggle. Absolutely. There are no lines on her body. Yeah, there's not. Like there are no borders. There just aren't. There's no separation in humans. Any separation, it's just no. But I really, really, really like that vision of the toral field and the like going from chaos back into order. It's Earth chakras affected conflict, our throat chakra speaking truth helps clear it. Thank you so much. Yes, I agree. I really feel this could be a good future grid work group because I just did Appalachia, and I think this could be a really good point to do some grid work to assist with the throat chakra of Gaia to clear that out and the truths. So maybe that'll be the next one that I schedule. That's a really cool idea. Japan is an exemplary from the past. In what way, Vitor?
So before I think the first war, they used to go to China to kill a lot of Chinese, and there was like a lot of bad things from Japan. So it needed to have a war to adjust it again. In Japan is it's like an example to everybody. So it's like as community. Yeah, it's a really good example how I don't go too much about countries and religion, but it's an example that everybody can change.
Thank you for that. I was raised in America and we don't teach our children anything. So I didn't know what you were referring to. And I'm still actually unsure. That means I have lots still to learn. But the good news is I'm going to be here forever until I die itself. Anyway, okay, agreed. But the name Israel itself is political designation. So we call it, okay. Yeah, I understand. I can't do the political anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't. Okay, last question is Danny's question. It's now 4 o'clock in the morning for you. I love you so much. What is the best focus on our inner light as we reach the solar maximum to open our connection and chakras? Our inner light. Oh my gosh. You're just light, Danny. You're already connected. Sorry. I got nothing for you. The best focus on our inner light. Okay. Inner child, inner child, inner child. He's repeating just inner child and showing me, Danny, this is great. He's showing the image of you and me in Fairy Falls while we were creating a little bed for our dead caterpillar. There was this beauty and tenderness as we were both living in this inner child state to honor the life that had been lost. And so we gave it a bed of moss and I put rose petals down and we honored it and we were quiet and we said prayers and you did light language. And it was a reverence of the sacredness of life and transitions in life. That's what he's bringing it back to. And we were also in our inner child at that time. So we were living in wonder. Time didn't exist. Everything was like neutrally okay. It was so beautiful and so wonderful. And he said, as we're transitioning to stay in that space of that childlike wonder and honoring, where you will save a spider's life. I did that last night. It was too close to the bonfire, and I'm like, nobody. When you acknowledge that life and source is in all things around you, and that there is no separation as you receive from the solar maximum with an openness. That's really important. The openness, a lot of people are in the like constriction of like, oh no, the solar flares are going to get me. Ah, I'm so uncomfortable, I can't sleep. Like, it's making it negative. And yeah, physically it's jacking us up, absolutely. But he's saying that you can't receive with a closed fist. So to set with your intention that what you're receiving is going to be in alignment. He's bringing it back actually to the crystalline DNA, 12-strand DNA. He always brings a loop back around to the origin of whatever I've done. So he's saying, as you open yourself to receive through the solar maximum without the intention that or consciousness that it's going to be difficult and hard and all these things, as you receive it, it will bless you and assist in your upgrades. And as long as you are the best way to receive and to be open is through your inner child, through the honoring of life. And he's showing me that image of us with the caterpillar again, Danny, of just that honoring and reverence for all life. He's saying that over and over, all life, all life, all life. There's reverence in the beginnings and endings and transitions. And this is, we're going through this cycle. And so it's not just, we are always focused on, oh my gosh, I can't wait till the ascension's here and all this crap is over. He's saying, please do not dismiss the beauty you have experienced within the darkness, because the fact you can experience beauty within the darkness honors the fact that humans are so beautiful and so worthy and deserve all the love and all the blessings, because when you can find joy amidst this density, you yourself are magic. I am complete. And I'm also crying again.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's perfect.
Oh. Oh, you are welcome. Enjoy praying with your family. That is what you always say. And you, more than so many, Savannah is a counselor for children. She is my Hopi goddess who, when I channeled imagery of Shasta for everyone in my masculine group, her image was just Shasta with her eyes. So she is Gaia. She's amazing. I love her so much. Yeah, you're right, Savannah. Basically, you're always right. That was the last question, you guys. Thanks for sticking it out for those last 13 minutes. But before I wrap, I want to see if anyone has any commentary about what I brought through today. You're welcome, Natalia. I love you too. All of you so much. I'm going to start weeping again. Somebody talk to me. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you also so much. You know it.
I do know it. Danny, I love you so much. We'll get back
Yeah,
to
me too.
Shasta.
Yes. For sure.
Danny's looking at Zillow ads for us to get a spot to like have a retreat center there or something. Oh my gosh. Okay. If there isn't anything to share, then I'm going to close us.
Just
Okay.
wanted to say I love you so much because I was actually feeding my cat, so I couldn't even get to my phone. But I just want to say I love you, and this has been amazing, like beyond words. Thank you so much.
I love you, Irene, so much.
Me
I've missed
too.
your face, my dragon goddess.
Oh, miss you too.
I just want to take a moment to invite us all to picture that snowflake again, that center heart that we've been in, to honor. I'm seeing just like bowing toward this like reverent vibration that has gifted us today. Thank Osho for what he's been able to share with us in his candid, loving way. And to really, he's saying that what we're parting with today, he wants you to remember that last bit that he shared, that what you are bringing through and the beauty you can find in this world, don't release it too quickly. Honor that it's here and that you can find beauty here, because the fact that you can makes you just so magic and a miracle. And for this space we've shared together, to thank all of us, our hearts in unity in that group hug that we have on behalf of Osho, to hug, the gift of hugging, that we are now releasing our energy into our own worlds and choose to take what resonates and leave the rest, and to just know that we can tune our own frequency whenever we need, and to tune into our physical vessels and honor it at whatever frequency we're being guided with our guides up that hill. We are all beautiful and on the perfect path. And so it is. Thank you, beautiful friends. My heart is with you, and I love you so much. And Natalia, I'll see you tomorrow at the Dragon Temple. And anyone who wants to go to the Dragon Temple tomorrow should go to the Dragon Temple. I'll be there. And Natalia, bringing in those dragons. I love you guys. I'll send out the playback tomorrow. Bye.